Most people probably realize that their old electronics are not biodegradable. What they may not realize is the full extent of the harm that their improper disposal is doing to the environment and the toxins that exist in many of the equipment we use on a daily basis.
The main problem with improper disposal of electronics is that really we should avoid disposal full stop. Basically, if you're actually disposing of electronics in a landfill, for example, that can leach out into water sources, so that can affect the environment, but it can also affect human health with water sources being polluted.
The toxins that do cause problems within the environment, for instance, would be lead, would be mercury, would be some of the different flame retardants and chemicals that they use for coating the materials, the electronics.
Clearly, these are toxins that you don't want to mess with, but it is important to note their full impact on the planet.
Problems associated with the improper disposal of electronics are child labor, pollution of third world countries. A lot of first world material ends up in third world countries where they have no infrastructure to handle the material after it's been used for its limited time period of what life it has left on it.
Well, there's actually all sorts of toxins in electrical equipment. We've got lead, we've got cadmium, we have beryllium, PCBs. Basically, it really is a lot of toxic material inside all electronics.
As dire as the problem is, there are steps that both companies and individuals can take to guard against such pollutants.
Rather than destroying or rather than recycling the whole unit, you can piece part it out and actually make use of some of the components that are inside the units themselves. And then the recovery side of it is total destruction, making sure that all the material is recovered properly to ensure full payment or payment back on certain items like the precious metal, the ferrous and non-ferrous metals.
All of these practices are integral for proper disposal, and it must be determined which of these options suits each case.
It's normally customer driven. In this instance, to recover, some people want to maximize their dollars, so you try to reuse the material as much as possible. Some companies wanted to have destruction, but you can still piece part things out. Again, you're going to get more value doing it that way than you would if you do total recovery of the material itself. Recovery of the material is just breaking down. It's the less amount of money recovered, but it's still being properly.
Now that we know the stages, let's find out the steps to be taken to start down the road to a cleaner environment.
Some of the most effective ways to dispose of electronics is making sure you audit the companies that you deal with.
Some of the questions that people should be asking about using the recycling company should be from the how many permits, certain permits that are in the industry, certain certifications that are in the industry today, making sure that the downstream vendor is applicable. We can see the downstream vendor deal with transparency in the industry, making sure that all of their permits and proper permits are in place to verify that they are an actual recycling company and not just a fly-by-night.
In addition to questions to ask, there are also steps that should be taken for proper disposal.
It's important to take several steps. Again, checking into the environmental compliance of the company, checking into how they handle their own e-waste and the documentation, the environmental health and safety staff.
It is important that everyone involved has a true environmental commitment and is taking every step necessary to ensure proper disposal.
R2 stands for responsible recycling. So it basically involves worker environmental health and safety protections, environmental protections, basically showing that there's due diligence all the way along that recycling chain